doing well. Today we're going to talk about the 6 accounts of the assassination of Malcolm X. Now, you should be creating a chart with different things to look at. In class last week, we talked about the text types, that Life magazine was a weekly magazine, New York Post, a daily local newspaper, Associated Press, a national um, newspaper or a news agency, really. The Amsterdam News, a daily African American, actually, it's not daily, I think it's bi weekly African American newspaper. The New York Times, obviously a national daily newspaper, and Newsweek, a weekly magazine. Also, pay close attention to the dates. Some of them are written in March, well after the fact. It looks like most of them are published on the 22nd, probably the day after Malcolm was shot. So he was shot on the 21st. So the different deadlines suggest obviously a different style of writing. And the Amsterdam News published almost a week after because it's bi weekly. Also, take a look at the use of quotes by the author. The Life magazine hardly uses any quotes, one little quote. The New York Post is almost all quotes. The Associated Press, hardly any. The Amsterdam News, it leads with a quote and then a few more at the end. The New York Times, very few quotes. And the Newsweek, hardly any quotes at all. Obviously, some of the style of journalism is different from a magazine to a newspaper. These are almost like essays or features. Notice how long and creative the sentence is. This would be a stuffier style than the daily newspaper, which is more of a plain style, shorter sentences, everyday words. And some of them are primary and secondary sources. So, I mean, it's primary in terms of its timing if it came out the next day. If the reporter was on the scene, it's obviously primary. But the Life magazine obviously is going to be secondary or tertiary. It was produced many days after, and it's almost an assimilation of many stories in an opinion piece. Also, the fact that there's some eyewitnesses here. We have this New York Post article, might be an op-ed. I don't know if it was a person on staff or not, but we have a first person I here. The Life magazine is in third person. This one seems like the writer talked to someone in the police precinct. He's more interested in the guns and weapons used in the shooting than he is about the life and death of Malcolm. This one is a first person account as well. Notice it uses a kind of parody lead, starts almost like a TV broadcast. And it doesn't go inside the ballroom. It's more of a eyewitness account of what happened on the street and the crowd's reaction. So this would be like a news reporter, a beat reporter, who were interviewing witnesses after they saw Malcolm being rushed to the hospital. All right, so read these carefully. Please annotate carefully. Also try to get your head around the author's attitude toward Malcolm. Some of these have some racial overtones, the use of whitey. Look at how each writer addresses Malcolm, black nationalist leader versus the shrillest voice. Some of these, it makes it seem like he got what was coming to him. There's a little irony here. This one points out the bitter eloquence that he was shot by someone in his own church movement. And some of these, it seems like, are just matter of fact, and they're totally objective. All right, I'll look for your charts next week. If you have any questions, reach out to me on Google Hangouts, Google Classroom, or email. Everyone take care. Please help your parents cook and clean the house as much as possible, and I'll talk to you soon.